Hi, welcome back, beautiful, beloved souls. My name is Gem, Jem, Gemstone, and I'm an author of nearly 40 books and a psychic medium. And sometimes I upload PowerPoints, sometimes I upload just commentaries. And today is going to be a commentary. Now, before I get into what I know, I don't believe in wars. I don't support fighting and conflicts. But the people who believe that they are serving their nation, they have made sacrifices, and they should, when they come home after serving their time, when they need something, like when they get sick, that help should be available for them. Sorry, I'm going to have to refer every now and then to notes I've taken. Now, I live in Australia, but today my commentary, although it's going to talk about the veterans from US, I'm sure this applies to any country. Okay, I'm going to talk about the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Apparently, during the war, the people at the military command, realized that every day a soldier themselves, the military waste from that soldier was 7 to 9 pounds a day. So the government contracted a company. This company was called KBR. And KBR stands for Kellogg, Brown and Root. Apparently, at one stage, Dick Cheney had stock and he made a fortune during the war in this KBR contracts. And the contracts were to get rid of the waste. So they decided what they would do is that they would use what's known as burn pits. Now, these burn pits were open burn pits, and in those rubbish went biomedical waste, body parts, tires, plastic, any rubbish, anything and everything. And jet fuel was poured over this to cause it to burn. And it would be very toxic black smoke. And what we're looking at is toxic waste in open pits. So this, from my understanding, started around 2004, maybe a little bit earlier, and it was still operating 2013, 2 years after being told to cease. Now, apparently, when it comes to rubbish, incineration is a better way to get rid of rubbish it's safer. But apparently it costs a lot of money. However, KBR cut corners. They originally did have money, or they had money. They had enough to build incinerators. And worse, there were certain areas in Iraq, for example, where burn pits were built on areas that were already contaminated. Maybe it was from previous weapons dumping. So there was already contamination before recontaminating with their own rubbish. And what happened is that you had healthy defense force going overseas, returning home very ill. And they were ill with cancer and untreatable bronchial disease. And unfortunately, when a veteran becomes ill, the burden of proof is on the veteran to prove that this illness was related to, for example, exposure to burn pits. And at the moment, so KBR, which was the government contractors for this, cut corners. They were responsible for waste management, government contractors that Dick Cheney had stock in, and the stock shot up during war because you know about profits. War is very profitable business. So we have a situation where these vets went healthy, came back sick. In fact, Biden's son served in Iraq and came home very ill. He had brain cancer and tragically passed. The belief is that he was exposed to burn pits. And apparently the VA, like I said, is denying the vets. Veterans are dying. And apparently the VA hasn't enough money to pay veterans. So veterans will die. This is a tragedy unfolding. Agent Orange all over again. There was a colonel also in the, I'm not sure if it was Afghanistan or Iraq, and it was around 2006, and he sent a memo back to his superiors stating how toxic the burn pits were. It got classified and buried. So why did I want to make this commentary? Is because these people made sacrifices. These people are someone's wife, someone's husband, someone's daughter, someone's son, sister, brother. And they believed in their country, and that's why they went over to fight or defend. Whether they were misled or not is not the point. The point is, have we learnt nothing burn pits. Open burn pits. You can Google this. I'm not making this up. And we know for a fact tires are toxic. Tires were being thrown on burn pits. Like I said, medical bio waste, contaminants, everything was thrown, and it was either lit with diesel or jet fuel to start fires. And where these open burn pits were the barracks not too far away. How many people or how many vets have been impacted? I don't know. And again, if this was happening with the United States, it's also probably happened to the British, to Australians, to any defence force, even if it's the so-called enemy. And let's take this a step further. Not only was Defence Force exposed to these burn pits, but so was the civilization, the peoples, the cities, the people who lived in Iraq and Afghanistan. We know what pollution is, and we are exposing people to contaminants, to toxics. So these Defence Force who went healthy were poisoned. And I made this video to say to those vets, not only in the US, but everywhere, I am very sorry. I am very sorry, and my condolences if you have lost a loved one to this. Words cannot express my horror at what I have learned. And I guess this is just the tip of the iceberg. We have to honor these people. They went, like I said, healthy, and even now willing to do it all over again. They're not dying from being shot by an enemy. They're dying from the toxic poisons of open burn pits when incinerators could have been used. Thank you very much for watching. Please be kind to each other and to yourselves. And I know that this video is a little bit left field for me, but my heart was really moved watching a documentary, and that documentary you can find on Tubi is something like Deny and Die. I haven't got the complete title, but you'll find it. It's about the burn pits that operated in the Middle East. All right. Have a good weekend. Love, light, and blessings. My name is Jem, Jem. Thank you for watching. And to those men and women, thank you for the service you have done for your country. Bye.